The second smallest tripod I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, it's a stills camera tripod. I brought it out of sheer desperation.
Oh, fair enough. Nothing like a bit of desperation to bring.
Oh, bloody hell.
That's my favourite thing.
Bloody hell. Desperation.
Not that I need to be desperate anymore.
He's got a squire by the belt. Different fighting style. Oh, sorry.
Everybody thinks about their stance position, and there's lots of different stance positions here. If you look at like Bruce's household, they've got a certain style and the way they stand. And Torg has a particular style as well. Even Cornelius in his household has a particular style and the way they stand. And it's quite sort of, Cornelius' household is very like this. And it all hangs out and comes forward. Bruce's household comes like this. Upright, stand super, tuck right in and square.
I need to bench these one.
I need to bend the knees more. Well, I nearly got it. I like to be a lot more fluid than that. I don't like to lock my feet up. I want to keep everything moving so that you can move and react to what your opponent's doing. Some people will tell you, and they used to tell me, that going backwards is a bad thing if your opponent's moving backwards. Going backwards is not a bad thing. Going backwards makes your opponent come to you and fight on your ground, the territory you own. Bit, but when you call a lay on at the start of the fight, and the center of martial art backwards, fine. More than all that lies to know. So everything in there you go to. So take control of that ground. Use that ground against your opponent. Let's have Deorc. Somebody else want to grab their stuff together too? Someone I don't see very often. Yeah. Excellent, please, if you will. What I want to do is try to show you again how you can move your opponent. Well, I don't think it's so much about tricks. It's about reacting to what your opponent's doing. And using your own body piece of position to shape his. Can you still hear me, Val? Yep. Okay. Can I hear you? Stand position here, excellent. Okay, we're going to line up your opponent. You can look and see where he's got big overviews. So maybe you can take that advantage. And he's going to know where his openings are. Does everybody know where their biggest openings are? Yeah? You want to tell me where they are so that I can use them against you?
You already know mine, sir.
Alright. His Excellence has two big holes that I can see. He's got one here. Alright. And he's got one here. And they're large holes. So he's generally going to know because he probably gets it. I created holes in people's defence, which I could follow behind and then take advantage of. Mainly with the rat. Thank you, Torg. Talk to the rat.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So, he's got another hole here, so we can take advantage of that by moving the shield and follow behind it. So let's try that. It's slow sort of thing, and I'll try to show people what I'm doing. Yeah, oh no, let's up as well. Let's up as well. Yeah, right. From that offside, that he can come back that way. Come back that way. Well, that's a move to your sword thing. It's awful long return. But I was watching this thing. He's wrong back with his head around, so he can take a position from there. And if I roll my head, my foot a little bit that way, load it up back to the head. That's from coming out of position. To get out of that, his best position would be to go with the direction of the blow. So if you throw an offside back to the head,
Can you hear any of that?
Yeah, road doesn't help. I can't really get much what he's saying.
Yeah, exactly. He's coming down through this side and I want to pull away from that. So just a simple matter of lifting my back foot and allowing my weight to take me back. Maybe I should talk about actually moving your feet to follow that. When you're in a stance position, whether it's with any weapon, two-handed sword, that's not a stance position, that's the way I practice it. When you're in a stance position, you're all been taught your weight's evenly distributed on both feet, you've got nice loose knees, so therefore everything's there. And if you just lift your foot, either foot, your weight's going to take you in one direction. Because you've only got half your weight on this leg, half your weight on this leg. So if you lift your foot, you're going to slide that away. So by lifting this foot, you're going to slide that away. Just by lifting your feet off the ground. And allow yourself basically to teeter in the direction that you want to go. Now people will say, this is no good, you're off balance. A really long out like this is no good. You're off balance, but you've got a really good balance this direction. And that's, in a tournament situation, that's where your opponent's coming from. He's not coming from the side, so anyone who says you're off balance this way, what's the point? Your opponent's coming from the front. So, really solid, you cannot be moved. So, lift your feet. It's just a matter of lifting your feet. Where your feet are doesn't matter so much. Where your shield is more important. The way you move. You can stand like this. I've stood like this. And fought an opponent as he passed me like that. You can stand like this, you can stand like this. It's all a matter of where your shield is. But moving your feet is just a matter of lifting. As you go. Questions? Any questions concerning that?
Isn't it preferable rather than going from open feet to closed feet and then open again, just go from fairly open to wider?
held sort of like this sort of thing.
That sort of thing, yeah.
Along the way.
It's harder to be pushed around.
Yeah, it is. But I don't find that a problem so much. I mean, if you're in a long stance position, you're low, and all your blows and your attack is coming from a low position. But coming back to this, then brings you back to your full height. So I've got about 5'4" now to 6 feet in height. So by bringing myself up, I'm coming, my shot's coming down.
Alright, yeah, good point.
So I use that height advantage that way. And from there, if your opponent moves, you're still in a position where you can break out into other things and in any direction you want. However you'd like to go, depending on what you want to do. So if I take this position and got his excellence to close on me, where I want to be, once he gets into his range, from there, alright, let's try moving. Where you want him to go. Using your movement to move your opponent. Move that away for me. And I'm really in the position that I was just talking about. That I can go in any direction I want to go. So let's go back to there. So he's moved there. So why don't I just step back exactly the same way I've come? So we move him just by moving our body. Let's try moving less so we get the same sort of result. What did I do there? Feet with my upper body. How much did my feet do? Anyone see how much my feet do? About that much? Yeah. And where did he go? About that much in exactly the same direction as we just did before by me going like that. So without moving. I'm a fat old bastard. And I like to expend the barest minimum amount of energy as possible. So if I can make him go there by going drifting my upper body, that's fine, because I can still come back to the upright position and be in the same position I was before to back there. This of course never works against Bruce.
And why is that, Sir Daemon?
You're a fatter old bastard.
Shouldn't have asked.
Alright. Canberra, I think we've only got what? 1, 2 people from Canberra? 3, 4. 4? 3, 4. This can all be learnt using the person who is best at moving an opponent in Canberra. That's Bran. He's exceptionally good at it. He taught me how to do it. Right, let's try that again in a different way. Be a new opponent. Alright. Is this your game, Bruce? Sorry? Alright, I can't move anymore, I'm still aware of it. What I was trying to do then was to get him to go the other way. But he wasn't going to have a bar of it. Although some people will. So any questions about that? Moving your opponent. How do you stop it? Get out of the way. See where the sword is. Be aware of what it's going to do. And what it's trying to do. Slow work. Slow work as an exercise to practice movement. Because it builds stamina even though you're not wearing full armour, because you're moving everything very slowly. And you can work it out and practice it, and in slow work it doesn't quite matter so much. You don't get the bruises that you do at full speed if you don't get it right. So slow work is about my favourite for that sort of thing.
Yeah, I did. Moving around, like creating your own target areas, essentially. I was going to ask you though, if you had to sum it up in a basic summary fashion, what are the do's and don'ts, say, of basic footwork? Would you believe?
Don't trip over your own feet. So I don't think there are any best ways. Like I was saying before, I don't think there's such a thing as going too long and being off balance because you're off balance sideways. You're not going to do that in a war, and that's the only time you're likely to get hit from the side.
Okay. If there's an opponent who's obviously larger than yourself, maybe more experienced than yourself,
Yeah.
we've taught many people not to simply move backwards. Is that
Yeah.
right? That's the type of thing that I'm
Well, I
suggesting.
always do that.
Okay.
Well, I like to go, as I said before, I like to have people come onto my ground. This is my bit of territory over here, you know, like it's like an extension of the, across that line. That's my bit of ground here, so come onto my ground. And by coming forward, yeah, sure, going backwards, you take yourself a bit out of position, which I was talking about before, coming out of your best defensive position. But his movement also takes him out as well. Which can be compensated for, of course, by adjusting your shooting position as you do. Like if you go back, if you're going to advance forward, what's your best way of advancing? Okay, that's fine. Come to your half step position, that half forward position, that where you just brought there. Yeah, that's when he's at his worst. But he's adjusted because he went from that as he was in stance position to that. So you automatically try to put some way to see just then. Because most people don't. They'll leave their sword there and come into these, well, they haven't been able to call it as an off guard position, you know, with their right foot forward, and suddenly open up this side of their head and this side of their body. I don't know how much people do that in other areas. I haven't travelled much over the last year, but around here people do it all the time. All the time. God, I can see, well, everybody here does it all the time. With the possible exception of Ragnar. But, so I don't think there is a right way or a wrong way to move your feet. As long as you're moving your feet in reaction to what your opponent's doing. So, now I'd like, if people can pop helmets on, pick up shields and swords, and let's do a little bit of movement stuff so I can actually show you on your own body. Everybody's taking a stance position against your opponent.
Please don't
And
hit
have a
me.
look at your opponent.
Looks like uphill.
Have a look at the size of this monster. Where's his big hole? And his head, where else is it? Look at his stance. What can you see here? Take your position. Take your position, get your shield up in front. What can you see from there? You can see this. Down the sides. But then he's also going to know that that's his
Beautifully unified.
So he's going to lower his shield. Right? So, you want to get behind him. He's got this piece of wood. I mean, position you want him in.
Just go back here, shall we?
Slow. Pick a blow and a place you want to hit him, and then try getting him there, and then work out why you didn't. If you didn't.
You actually need to swing that stick too.
Do you understand what I'm talking about? Go for it.
Your Highness, you're looking awfully studious.
You just need to get partially around.
I am working out the new laws, the new taxation for the principality.
Reacting right onto his good place. What blow are you trying to kill him with?
I'm basically
Pick a blow and decide what you want to hit. Pick a target spot. Let's say this spot here. And let's try to get yourself into a position where you can hit that spot there, or put him so far out of position, right, that it opens that up for you. So let's think about how you're going to approach that.
He's very aware of
So now pick a new spot. Pick a new spot. Slow down. Remember, slow work. Good. I'm going to go down here.
Okey-doke.
Can't do it slow? Yeah. Never been able to do it slow. Talk me about how you included him putting your opponent out of position, whether he realises it or not. So there's all these things that come in the back of your head to decide how you go. You make sense? Talk taught me this that made me go bang, 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 bang. And it gets your opponent going like this. It takes him right out of position. So once he gets into this role of doing this sort of thing, you can then take that and do the other thing that he taught me, which was coming off that and then coming through your opponent. Take your shirt down. Take your shirt down. And then coming through.
nearly all my kills are offside hook shots. My standard pattern at the moment, something you just can't do slowly, but I'll do it slowly and show you how it works, is a hit spin.
I'll never be able to do that. A bit racing for you, but took a different approach. We never used to keep people to move too much. We never started to have you been able to do go back to doing some slow work with him again now. And remember the stuff we said of following through behind your shield and adjusting your shield position as you came in. And try working on that and get your kill. Your spot to hit him is quite like this shoulder blade. That shoulder blade. Can you see if you can get him that far out of position that you can hit that shoulder blade? No, not at all.
Don't even think about it.
Okay. Do that again. Leave your hand there. Look at the position you should.
Kick him in the groin now.
Or if you've got a big thing like that, like you're carrying a tray of drinks to somebody, you want to get that because you just got the nice. Can you see the hole? Can you imagine it falling on your arm? If you see it comes together, it's got a nice little hole here. Here?
And you hit me in the head somewhere.
This is what happens. Like that. It's a good start.
Alright, okay.
Imagine a boxer.
Just do your shield
Boxer. So SCA stance is a boxer's stance. You take that, bring it up, and swing it out.
That would come through.
So get yourself in this sort of position right behind it, and that's your best position. So try and move him around that. This is how we're
Wheels going forward. Good, good.
Where did he shoot off the fences?
Oh! And so
I was going, yep, this is great. Intrap now. I just do this a couple of times.
How's that feel? Now move again. Again, sorry.
Straight back into that stance. Keep pointing us.
Yeah, basically I had it back there, and I had to sort up.
Okay. You're taking yourself right out of position. And then try to come back through the shield and you had to duck. Sort of, as Ragnar pointed out a moment ago, people are going around their opponents and then coming back the other way. Why not keep going that way? Yeah, you don't have to keep going round and round and end up in this continuous spiral.
Yeah.
If you look at areas they often, because people end up doing that sort of thing, they end up with these two circles on the area. It's like the eyes of mystery on or something like that. Alright, so take your go. Now advance on now and next. Again.
That's like bounce again.
And we're going for that.
Some of the shield is based on start going around.
Took another step with it, sort of half through the blow and then came back.
The other hand.
We don't have to take the second step.
Get away with it. I don't know.
So let's try that again. Let's see if I can get across my phone.
Oh, let me. Grab the shield.
Yeah, I'm the target.
Well, you're allowed to grab a polearm path. So if you've got the hand protection to drill with, I don't see why you can't. Yeah? You've done it to me.
A lot of things I don't know that I do. I don't know how I move half the time because I have to see myself on video to find out exactly what I do. So, any questions about what you were trying to do?
Just one point. And we can discuss it briefly. Basically, the point of where people are facing up to one another is cool.
Yep.
And they're doing the actually, I'm going to move in our position here.
Yeah.
And then they'll either like, most of the time they'll come straight back and go, okay, I've done it. I've moved in our position. And I'll start again. Rather than say, continuing on. Saying, moving another one around. And keep it flowing. Yeah, no, I think camera and shield.
I think, yeah.
I started fighting back in 1979. I started picking up mace in about 1983. So that's about 13 years with the mace, and since that I started with it, it's been my favourite weapon. Some years ago I wrote an article, Why a Mace? Ended up in Pegasus. Why a mace when why is fighting with a mace so different from fighting with a sword? The thing about a mace is that, for one thing, a lot of the impact of a mace is in the head, very concentrated. So when a mace head, for a given velocity of a mace head against a sword travelling at the same speed, the mace will hit with a greater level of impact. Part of that is because it's obvious that a large part of the mass of the mace is in the head. So a large part of the mass is directly in line with your target. Another part of it is that maces effectively don't have any flex as far as the impact point goes. There's no other part of the mace which is going to flex away from the target. When a sword hits a target, there are parts of the sword which flex. Whereas a real sword wouldn't have that problem. Real swords are very, very rigid on the plane of their narrow blade. But SCA swords do flex when they hit things. All maces don't have that problem. So one of the things about maces is they hit with a greater amount of impact than the sword does for a given amount of effort. And also they're much shorter. Because they're shorter, it means you've got to fight much closer. And most people in the SCA aren't used to fighting at very close range. Most people learn sword and shield, and they learn to fight a distance of about 1.5 metres. That's where they start fights. Most get sneered at, they don't need weapons. Most SCA tournaments start at about here, and you comfortably fight at about here in sword and shield. Right? Now, with a little bit of effort, swords and shieldsmen will fight at about here, which is a good range for fighting with a mace. With a lot of effort, a swordsman can fight here, but a mace person can fight here. There's lots of mace shots that you can throw from here, and you can't throw, well, you can throw an equivalent weapon slot the sword, but it's very difficult. Most people fighting with a sword don't like being this close to somebody with a mace. Right? They're quite happy back here. They start getting uncomfortable about here, and when you get about there, they want to be over there. Because they want to be over there, they're not feeling very comfortable about what they're doing, so they lose confidence. They want to be further away. But you know they want to be further away, so you know where they're going to go. They're going to go over there. Back in the past, they used to go directly back away from you, and they used to die a lot. Nowadays, they don't do that. They've got smarter. They go over to your shield side. It stops you doing that nasty, wonderful rap where you just grow around anywhere in the back. That's right. Back in the early days, I had a favourite combination which just consisted of a head, offside head and wrap. And you just walk up to people and do it. Daemon remembers when I first turned up at Portendale for a tournament, one of the very early tournaments many, many years ago. The first. And I just recently learned that from Sir William the Lucky. It might go a bit like this, but people didn't actually move around very much. So stepping around somebody and hitting them in the back was almost unheard of. So that's one of the reasons why I started off with Mace, because Mace gave you a psychological advantage. People weren't used to it, and people still aren't used to it. Now what I've got here in a little piece of paper that I've given to a few copies around here is some of my favourite shots, which I've titled Torg Sneaky Killing Blows. But as it says, the above title is a con. There's no such thing as sneaky killing blows. For every one of these combinations or things that are in here, there is a counter. The thing about them is that they're different, and they are mainly shots that you can't easily throw with a sword. You can throw them with a sword, especially with a shorter sword, but they're better thrown with a mace. Now, can I get you a helmet? Many years ago, the first one of these combinations, which I've called the face punch. Now, the face punch is a blow, starts with the weapon next to your shoulder, and you step offside to your opponent and extend your arm. That's all you do. Just punch the air, hold your weapon, punch the air to the opponent's right shoulder. Just walk past it. Step away, punch the air. Now what happens is they've got a very open shield position, like Sir Daemon. And I practice this a lot on a pelt. And basically you're like this, and you go like that. Now, the shield up in the way is just not going to work. But for people who have very open stance, a helmet like that, aren't waiting for it, it does that. And it's a very nasty little opening shot. You can't do it with the sword very easily because you can't easily hold a basket up that way. You can't, and the weapon is too long. It's so long, what will happen is it'll pick up on the shield somewhere. It's got a slot shot, you can put it in, but it's a nice mace shot. That's basically just a punch, which goes straight like that. But you've got to move to your opponent's left side to do it. You've got to step over here and throw it. It won't work just from standing in front of them. As it says there are strengths, opportunities, weaknesses and things with that. It's a good surprise shot. That won't work on people who have closed defence. It won't work on people who defend the side of their head with their weapon. So if you've got somebody like Alpha, who often seems to fight with his weapon here, next to his head, it won't work, because you'll just run straight into his weapon. If he's fighting like that, it won't work. You'll run straight into the basket hill. It only works with people who have this old-fashioned sort of open stance style. There's nothing to say that's not a good, bad style. It's an excellent style. Next one. Are there any questions about the face punch?
Are you hitting with what would be the blade of the sword, or are you hitting with the flat of the mace? Blade of the sword sort of with the mace.
That would be flat.
Flat. So it wouldn't work with another mass weapon like Mace or something like that.
It could do, but you have to turn your wrist. It's just more comfortable to have your palm like that.
Yep.
So you're actually throwing it palm forward.
Yep.
Because of that, you're not going to be hitting with the bladed weapon. So you could do it. You would have to.
Float your wrist.
You have to turn your wrist so that your palm was like that. So it could be thrown with the sword. It'd be a bit awkward. The old 1, 2, 3. The old 1, 2, 3 is the one that went through Mordenvale like a dose of Schultz back in 1983. Right? It basically goes like this. You throw a shot like that, close on your opponent, throw a shot like that. Half the time they die. Bang, I haven't seen that like combination before. If they're really cunning, throw a shot like that, and their shield gets in the way. Then you lean on their shield with your shield, step around them, hit them anywhere. Now they're not going anywhere because people hadn't been taught to go anywhere in those days. They just stood there and went, why am I dead? Now, what's the classic defence against that nowadays?
Run away.
Run away. Where do you run away to? You run away to your opponent's shield side. So that as you do that, they move, they rotate to my left-hand side, to my left side. That's why that one doesn't work very much anymore. That's why I don't throw it anymore. What happens with this weapon system now is that rather than throw it that way, and step, it's that way, press and face if the shield is held low. If the shield's held high, then if they're defending with a shield still, you're going to have to step around them. But a lot of people don't defend with a shield anymore for offside shots, they defend with the weapon. So you go like that, and the weapon comes and blocks the shot. Now, most people, when they block the shot with a weapon, want to have it back. So they put their weapon back into stance. Most people would bring their weapon back into stance, but you don't. After having hit like that, most weapons are flashed, you spin it into the face. Because they'll push it. They've actually hit your weapon, they've touched your weapon, caused it to go backwards. You just let it keep going backwards. So it spins around your wrist, it does that. It doesn't necessarily have to go back that way, it can go back that way. In fact, that's my favourite killing combination at the moment, is a shot, spin. Now, because a mace is very short, you can actually spin it in front of your body without hitting yourself in the face. If you try that shot with the sword, it will hit you there.
That's so simple.
Because it's in its own length, because the shot actually goes from here in its own length, it's not seen very much. It's actually sort of visually disappears. It's not doesn't take up a very large area for what your visibility is. Your hand's still there, it hasn't gone anywhere. The weapon's still there. What's happened is just turned 180 degrees. don't react to it. Well, I don't react to it fast enough. That's another good one to practice on a pillar lot. Alpha chops it off with a sword. But then that combination doesn't work on Alpha very well. The third one I've got there is the teardrop return. I read about the teardrop return in Flower of Sovereigns. It's a good shot against people who have small shields. Basically goes down to attack the leg, comes back down and rotates back up into the head. Never goes very far. As you can hear, it's actually got quite a lot of biff to it. Not so much that shot that hits hard, it's that shot that hits hard. And why it hits hard is because you lift it with your foot, and it's just an extension of the momentum of your body hitting the target. You just stiff arm it. Well, almost stiff arm it. You're actually pushing with your foot into the hit. As you hit, you raise that foot. Because you raise that foot, the angle of the blow changes from being an upward angle to a horizontal angle. The weapon goes down. As it comes back up, you lift that hit, and the weapon turns going this way to that way. Especially with 3, which is pretty much an opening combination, you can use a teardrop anytime. Anytime your opponent has one of those smaller sorts of shields. It wouldn't work on my shield, for example. It wouldn't work on any kite type shields. It only works on shields which are small. That's actually an excellent sword shot. Not a very good mace shot, because maces aren't long enough. You've got to stand pretty close to it. The only real advantage of it as a mace shot is that the second shot will nearly always hit somebody in the head. And of course everybody knows you hit him in the head with a mace, they're dead. So, end of game. That's right, yeah. Especially if they've got if it's disappearing, right? Because if you've got a shield, they've got a shield, weapon's gone down there, and it disappears. Actually, your weapon's still, your stance is still back there. You can't do it with the leg forward. Yes. Weapon goes down there. And where do weapons go after they've gone down there?
Heaven.
That's right, they go up here. Right? People do that shot. Weapon goes up here. People do that shot. Goes back to stance. People do that shot as a rebound. People don't normally hit the leg twice. Hit their shield with your weapon. Right? Then replace it with your shield. Right? Will get to their shield faster than your shield will get to their shield. Also, they will be watching for hooks and presses. And hooks and presses are like the bread and butter of the mace fighter. Now, I haven't actually put them in because everybody knows how to do hooks and presses. With a mace, you just do it faster, basically, or you try and do it better. It's an integral part of your combinations. You're always moving things out of the way with your shield so there's a hole that's mace size. But that's something that's the same as most normal fighting techniques, it's just slightly different. So it's something you can just modify from a shield technique to a sword shield technique. It's not something that's uniquely different. Yes? It doesn't work all the time. Nothing ever works all the time. So any questions about those as mace shots are just a shot age, because I turn 40 soon, I wouldn't have a chance. Most people still can't come to grips with the fighting with people at that range, the really close fighting. Some people can. The best defence against that is to stand there. That's what Alpha does, that's what Bruce does. They just stand there. Here we are with my mace, and I've got to here. Now we're doing this sort of fighting, right? Just stay there. I can't hit you. Right? If I want to hit somebody, how do I hit somebody from here? I've got to wrap them, right? I haven't got the offside shots. My shield's here. their weapons there. I haven't got the offside shots. I've got to step, go around here. Right? I've got to disengage my weapon, bring it round the back. And I'm very open on the top while I'm doing that, so I don't do it. Swords are faster than maces. From here, if I disengage to hit, he can hit me much faster than I can hit. In fact, I've got this wonderful head that's open for all these lovely offside shots, and I don't want to get hit in the head. So most of your opponents will move back to allow you room to hit them. So that's just my thing.
No, you're just seeing double.
You and I mean that's basically the secret of my fighting. I'll throw a leg grab, okay? Just like that. Okay? I'll throw a head wrap, just like that. Okay? It looks the same until it reaches this point. Okay? I'll throw a leg snap, just like that. 3 blows, completely different. They all look the same until a choice point. And there's a choice point in every blow you throw. You guys see that down there, by the way?
Yeah, it's better.
Every blow you throw has a choice point. And I mean, depending on your genetic sizing, I'll like put it that way, your choice point varies, okay? A lot of people find that they can only go from there before they have to make a choice, okay? So here, they're choosing whether they're going to go in, whether they're going to actually roll their wrist in, whether they're actually going to roll their wrist up and come up, okay? But I can actually choose here. It's a genetic thing, what do I say? And that's an advantage. But I mean, so that looks the same, okay? To there. Now, if I'm throwing up a head wrap, okay? See how my body actually comes down and up? And when I throw a leg wrap, my body stays down. It's not necessarily the case. Use your body to fake something. It's all the same technique.
Can I get you to stop telling me because it shakes a little tripod and the camera goes shake.
Sorry, it amplifies it.
Do they know how to do the shots?
No, it just shakes it and gets really shaky.
Yeah, but a small shake here will be a big shake there.
True.
Sorry.
I'm actually not all that bothered.
Yeah,
You didn't shake it in a bad way.
that's right. So you like happy to be here or what? You need a hat.
Oh, too cute.
Ah, yeah.
All right. Sure. Right.
You're deadly serious about it.
I'm looking.
Stand at leg.
Yeah.
See how she
And then
raises the body up?
exactly. You're gonna try and have fun, and it's not that easy. It's much easier if you think you're
The whole idea, okay, is to make it the same. I have to put the sword up naturally. There's no reason I can't raise my shoulder. Just let it sit. Yeah. Okay. Almost like I mean, basically that means Boris here has to choose. Okay? He really doesn't know what's coming and has to choose. I mean, it's a 50-50 chance. There are ways that he can do it. I mean, as soon as I go through this, he steps in. No, don't want to do that.
I'll be talking to do that.
Now, gruesome stuff, you see? This is why it's in stuff, because we'll get onto a whole range of things. You know the next. See how he's got everything over one side? If any time your opponent, especially Florentines, but anybody gets over there, okay? Do this, he does that block, push your sword shield there, okay? He is now trapped completely on that side. This is completely exposed. There is no way he can get to bottom. Okay? Please,
the States, they're just actually bobbing it down to there, okay? They don't go any further than that. So their arm is still on that side of their body. They're not trapped over that side. So they're just actually bobbing it down like that, and they can always bring it straight back down, okay? If you go too far, trap it, okay? Bring it up there. And get over that side. See? The cord is just sitting there. This is all just very exposed in there. And I mean, you can use it against them as well. Because when you trap them, they'll try and pull back down. You actually let them go. And you use that against them. It's very much a parry riposte game. This entire game. Okay? And if you can get your opponent to do things for you, then you will win. It's really that simple. Now, I've only got 20 minutes here. I must have used 15 of them already.
5.
5. God damn.
Time goes slowly in modern bar.
Yeah, it certainly does. Daemon wanted to actually bring up one last point too. You want to say that now?
A very important point you want to bring up.
Oh, yeah.
You know the mental game?
Yeah.
Get
Yeah,
on
that's what
you.
I wanted to bring up, that I smoke too much and I'm a bit overweight. But I still manage to fight fine. I don't train enough. I'm not really physically fit like some people, let's say Declan. They're actually fit as well. But I still manage to win lots of fights because it's in your head. It's all in your head. And making yourself. And people constantly do things like going off guard decision, no matter how many times you tell them, don't stick your head in your shirt and your body out in front of your shirt, because they don't think. They don't think and tell themselves, I'm not allowed to do that.
Okay, now we need to grab some stuff. Gruesome stuff. Shield, swords, okay. Against that. Good question. Oh, by the way, anytime anyone's got a question on anything, it doesn't actually even have to be related to what we're doing here. Ask away, it's just gruesome stuff.
Where did you buy the medicator?
Sorry?
Where did you buy it?
A lovely young lady in the Kaling salon, okay? She's very cute. Nice to meet you.
Where did
Okay,
you buy
I'll
the
go there next
medicator?
weekend.
Can you do the 3 shots? Down. Bring your shoulder up. Let the sort of drop you.
There's a step with that,
You've
Boris.
actually got to actually. Sorry? Doesn't have to be.
Right.
Okay.
But just you were doing a little step.
It's just so I can turn so people can see each other. But you don't have to do that. You're actually pulling down with your shoulder, and it's more than you need, okay? You want to make them think that you're going for a leg. Pull your body up, and think, aha, rising back. Just drop it in. Okay, so just nice and slow. The easiest way to block it is when they go down. I have to say, this is only with the bunny round, okay? I can't use a heater for shit. Okay, I just cannot use them for some reason.
There's nothing he does bad.
Okay? That's an offensive movement against his offensive movement. That's what came out in Daemon's, the end of Daemon's talk, okay? There's a reaction to everything someone does. And whatever I do, I'm looking for a reaction. Now, I haven't actually moved my sword at all. All I did was that. Boris came out with a shield, leaving his head completely exposed, okay? There's always a reaction. Now, you can use that reaction as a reaction to them. Or if the Christian went through this with you. Or you can actually use their action to start off an attacking action of your own. Like this, okay? When he doesn't move, that's great, because that's a leg shot. Okay? If I do this, when he does move, that's great, it's a headshot. Okay? You just have to make decisions later. Don't pre-make any decision. You should always be able to, in a border
My mistake.
I'm defending. I'll wait until he's attacked, and then I'll go. Okay, it's a do together thing. So now, any other questions?
Tips on killing left-handers. Because they're applicable the other way around.
Thank you. You've been a wonderful helper. Another left-hander?
Sounds like Daniel was volunteering.
She's in the front row, she's left-handed.
I got one coming.
I got one coming.
Actually, we'll take this one. I'm Bruce, by the way. You are?
Running.
Eric.
At the moment, 118 kilos. See? Chivalry. Monster without the sun.
You're a kind guy.
That wasn't chivalry, it was compassion.
The way I deal with most left-handers is raps. Bread and butter. Okay?
What do you need?
Bread and butter. How do I scare you? This is quarter speed.
You weigh 118 kilos, Bruce. That's frightening for small people.
Yeah.
There are some other tricks you can use against left-handers. Like, take a shot like this. You should be using this, don't use a shot. You actually bring that out. You can then hook them in the back. Okay? So you actually hook the back of their shield. So, try and pull out of that. Well, most people think hooks are out, and they can only hook the same side. I mean, you can't hook the front corner here. What you can do is really press it. But if you can draw that corner out, it's the other side. Well, it's a theory, okay? Yeah, I mean, as soon as he swings, I'll actually use Daemon's movement theory. So I'm here. Okay, you just place your body so they can't do it. But there are certain things. I mean, it's easy to follow down the line of a shield, okay? With the sword against the left hand. Actually follow that line much better than if it's a right-hander where you've got to actually get over and point it down. Well, I mean, yeah, I just basically mess around with their shield. I don't really move in on them because range wraps are probably the best way to deal with them.
Yeah.
It's the same sort of thing against two-handers, like two-handed sword, blocking from there.
Someone grab a two-hander.
Morgan?
No, there's no way I do it. All I do with a two-hander is like this. What I'm looking to do is for you to take a blow. Whichever blow you particularly want, okay? When I'm blocking this half of my body, as in like cut a line down, this half of my body, I can block with the sword. The other half is the shield. It's called spherical defense. There's two forms. You can either halve it up and down or side to side, okay? So the whole idea is I'm blocking with this, okay? I've made contact with a weapon with either one. The whole idea then is moving while keeping that contact, okay? Don't let him go. You can't hit him until you're getting close. Well, if it was a real two-hander, you couldn't hit him. You're getting close, you exchange, and you're ready to go, okay? Remember, he's taking a shot on this side. I keep contact with the shield, moving close. There's no point starting against a two-hander like this because you're just not going to hit him. He knows when to use it for defense. Come in.
How about if he's partial to doing thrusts at you rather than using the blade?
No difference.
Okay.
Okay, now I'm larger two-hander. Real two-hander.
Guys, what you do with it? You told me that this morning.
Well, I have a good one. Fine. You're doing your thrust. Same thing, okay? I have to watch my top. I I mean, if the thrust comes and it's coming over this side, same thing. Alright? Until you get to this sort of range, you're really ineffective against a two-hander. No point in sitting it back here, you know. Bring it forward where you can use it to defend but getting close. Question? Anybody else got a question?
Hit him with the blade.
Alright, so we're blocking in, okay? Notice how I'm not up here like this. I'm here. This is my range. This is where I'm coming. If he raises it like that, cool. I mean, which side do you want? A better way to do it is actually to drop that blade down.
Cross over.
Yeah. Well, no.
Cross the hand.
No. Go back to your original.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yep. I don't know. This feels really wrong. You got something?
Yeah, I lead with the right. If you really leads with your left, he actually, that's why he's so effective on spin against right-handed children. He actually can put the body up like that. Coverage. Whereas because I lead with that, I have to actually do this. Which actually means my arms wedged in, so my spin zone's effective against the right hand. Over left hand. But yeah, the butt spike is basically do not get close enough. So when you get in, the butt spike is most effective. When you're so close that it's hard to use this properly.
So being a two-hander, how would you stop someone with sword and shield pressing you like that? Walk away or something?
No, actually, I don't use the butt spike. Pick up a sword and shield. Where would you rally into? Here's a case. And then you riposte back with the blade, okay? Not the block coming back. It's a scissor action with the two-hander, okay? You don't actually need to use your arms at all to stop your shoulder. Just a scissor action, okay? That's just arm scissoring. Okay? Where's your shoulder? You can do it backwards too. I mean, it's just a short scissor action with the two-hander. That's all the movement you should need to kill someone. It's just like when you defend with the two-hander. That's as much as you need to do to lock your entire body. And someone as large as me, okay, it's just that movement. You'll find most two-handers will go. Okay, now if you actually fake them out, they just go too far. You don't need it. I mean, that's what these are for. Picasso things, quiggins, they catch you. That's all you need to do to lock your entire body. Apart from the very bottoms of your knees where you just drop it. Well, he did control it for a while. Okay? And what I did, he actually controlled it with the shield, and I used my body. See how I've actually rolled my body onto the shield? I've actually hit his shield with my body, which is legal. He cannot hit me with his shield, but you're allowed to hit their shield with your body. In fact, that's how the spin works. The whole idea is to pin the shield there, rotate around the shield. Antoine, Hugh Louis, myself are about the only people I know who actually do the spin effectively. And both Antoine and Hugh Louis are better at it than I am. I'm much better at actually using my mass and scissoring. Anybody else? You do, right ahead. You had to step around his head. I'm not sure whether that's had to learn a style, a Florentine style, I guess. So it's like anything you pick up. How did you learn how to do sword and shield? There you go. Attacking Florentinist, okay, will come out with a lot of wide stuff, and he almost always, and you should all remember this, almost always, his opening blows will be smack, smack, okay, or smack, smack. You could bet on it, and 99 times out of 100, you'd be a winner. Okay. Whereas my stance is very, very much more closed. Okay. And I actually use this mostly as a defensive weapon. Okay, and it gives me the quick flick of the actual threat of an attack more than an attack. So I'm using this to actually, just like when I was teaching you how to block the greatsword, okay, I try and actually pin the weapon with this one. So his weapon, I'll try and keep contact with. Okay, whereas I'll use this as just a normal sword. And whereas Antoine tries to keep you at range, he doesn't like to get in close, I'm completely opposite. I prefer to get in close where I can work the wraps, the short shots. So that's my style as such. I'm not particularly in favour of Florentine. It's a very good style.
How do you defeat like Florentine with a two-hander?
Use a thrusting tip.
Pointy bit. Okay. The threat of the pointy bit will defeat not necessarily the pointy bit, okay? But if you threaten to actually thrust at them and then cut into the leg, the weakest defence on a Florentinist is the leg, okay? There's two ways to do it. They can either pull down, okay, which usually won't get far enough if you're accurate, okay? And the second one is to actually saber block it, okay? So you actually cut down the saber block. The two-hander can generate so much power, the saber block, unless they catch it right up near the hill, isn't going to be good enough, okay? They'll just knock their weapon right up, still career in hard enough. But the actual threat of the thrust, everybody's shading their eyes. Do you want me to move over there? Are you guys right? Okay. The threat of the thrust, okay, means that they have to actually use these, and the best way to defend against the thrust is to actually pivot the body rather than use the arms. You actually pivot the body out of the way. So if you're actually just making that thrust, you pivot the body, and it's awful hard to block that leg. See how explosive it is? I mean, once you take a leg on a Florentinist with a two-hander, it's just all over Red Rover, basically.
Is there any general rules for defending against Florentine? I've fought Antoine twice at festival, both times he killed me in the head. I don't know where.
Yes, there are some general rules to defend against Florentine. Who's the Florentinist? They're a winner. Come, please, join me. Oh, you've got to do it.
I'm not it.
I enjoy a dabble, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't call myself an
Hey,
idiot.
most people against the Florentinist take this sort of style again, okay? They'll get into their normal stance. Florentinas aren't a normal style, okay? They're not.
That's not
I
abnormal.
use this attack against the Florentinist. Now, there's two ways you can do it. If you have a longer weapon, okay, then you probably should stay at range and keep snapping, okay? Just keep snapping at him, trying to get him with range shots. I have a little weapon. I actually use the same theory as with what I do with the greatsword. Only this weapon blocks this weapon. This has that. Okay, so the whole idea is that when he takes a shot at me, okay, now he's in a bit of trouble. Florentinists do not get in close though, okay? See how he's squared up and everything's all messed, okay? Now I start with the wrapping again, okay? The wrap is my favourite tool. To block a wrap with these, I mean, look. Sure, he can bring that across, not a problem. And as soon as he does, you know where the opening is, okay?
That works for most people, but the chances of me pushing someone around the field is not real good.
You don't have to push them around, okay? You just have to get them as close. Ready, stop.
The way Antoine did it, I didn't see when the guy came from. He's fighting over me, like this, and I'm...
Well, I mean, we all have our genetic difficulties. I'm large. What's in me to hit? Not a lot to hit. Okay, it's just one of those things. But I mean, there should be no reason actually dropped my shoulder at that stage. You'd see the body drop.
Well, maybe not.
If you saw the body drop, okay, follow me down, I've punched straight across you. If you didn't see the body drop, punch straight across. Okay, so what he's doing is he's using you to blind yourself. Literally, he's using this to get you to move your shield. Blind yourself. Okay. No, use the sword. So if he throws a shot back, if I go, you can see it all the time, okay? Oh, I mean, yeah, so I mean, what he's doing is trying to get you to blind yourself. I mean, that's what this is for. Because everybody has their sword in the back window, they're shot at this, okay? That's why it works, because everyone's going, oh no, block the first one. The second one's going to get you. Use two things to defend. Good.
What happens?
Oh, we've got to stop.
It's brutal. Whippersnapper.
It's usually ugly, and for me, it's different because he tries to get me at range. Because I use smaller and more concise, and he's very flourishy with his blows, okay, and they come everywhere. And he uses longer sticks. I use that as a natural advantage for me. If I get in close, his longer sticks get tangled. So I'm going, bop. Go quickly. He's going, swing, get out.
I know you don't recommend two weapon techniques, but is sword and sword the only valid technique, or can you play with the other?
But one of my favourite florentine techniques is crucifix. Okay? I'm using this as a defensive weapon. You've actually got an attack or a thrust, okay? In fact, Alpha should be able to tell you all about this wherever he is. Oh, damn. But yeah, I mean there are multiple. There is no bad combination, okay? There's only bad techniques that you do with that combination. I'm a minimalist. I work out what shots I like, and then I work out how to do them with the minimum risk to me. Okay? And I mean, if it's not a percentage shot, most of my shots are at least 66% able to get in without getting me killed. And if it doesn't reach that sort of standard, then I won't include them. Apart from one. It's a really tricky shot, and you won't let me do it. I'll show you later. It's a really cool around the back shot.
I'll be right.
You alright?
Go away! Excuse me.
Oh, he's beautiful.
So SCA Warfare is the best form of fighting. Talk to any SCA fighter, and all the stories they come up with, you know, I did this, I did that, they're always in wars. You never hear people telling stories about great tournaments they fought. Do you? Right, okay, so SCA Warfare is the perfect form of fighting, which is nice and medieval, right? Tournaments in the Middle Ages were training for wars. War was the real thing, right? As far as I'm concerned, that's how it works in SCA too. Tournaments are all very well, they're nice practice, but the war is the real thing. So, how do we enjoy our war? Right, okay, we line up here, they line up there, we go in there and hit them. That's war, SCA war, okay. So, thanks, Brad. Alright, so the lecture is entitled Warcraft, the craft of war. How to craft a war. Therefore, make it more interesting. Will never win a tournament. 5 newcomers, a unit, may just win a war. Right? It's far easier to train people in the SCA to fight well in wars than it is to have them fight well in tournaments. Therefore, it's the first step in the SCA fight really does. He, she, gets their army together and goes to the war. It's great. They love it. They get to stand there with their mates and hit other people and get hit. That's what the war's all about. Right? So it's the best training it's the first level of training for SCA fighters, being able to fight in the war. Right? Training for tournaments, you can sit there for 6 months and train them and they'll still come last. Right? In a war, you can train them for 3 weeks and they're going to win the war. So it's the easiest form of fighting to do. Right? Therefore, it's the first access level to people into the SCA. Right? This is how it's a good recruiting thing. I'm very much in recruiting. Go in and fight the war for us. Right? Now then, the second most important is what you're wearing in the war. Let's face it, if we're talking about the craft of war, it's very cool. Yeah, it's got to look good. Right? So this comes down to my particular attitudes on SCA in general. If medievally tournaments were training for wars and wars are the real thing, and if I then say that SCA-wise tournaments are training for wars and wars are the real thing, we're trying to recreate medieval wars. And the SCA does a really good job of that. Right? For me, the best part of war is trying to wear the equipment and fight with the equipment that they would have had, go out there and get full experience of war. Right? If I'm wearing what they would have worn, I'm feeling what a medieval war is about. That's just me. Okay, this is just not even kids like that. You obviously know. So if we're going to make the war look good, we're going to make it a good war. We've got to look good in the war. Now that comes down to essentially armour and livery. Right? The two most important things in the war. The armour, obviously, so you don't die. Right? And the livery, so that everything looks spectacular. Now that livery has two functions, obviously, in case I'll explain it. It makes your group of men, or women, or fighters, or whatever you've got, makes them all look good, makes them a cohesive whole, makes them a unit. That's what warfare is all about, a bunch of people standing together and hitting another bunch of people. And there's absolutely no point not wearing livery. You've all got to look good, livery you've all been in wars, yes? Yeah. You've all seen how good it looks with lots of people in livery. Right? And it's a very good safety device. You know who's on your side, you're wearing the livery that they are. Except for these two. Mind you, next time. That's a good idea. Alright, so yes, the livery is probably the single most important factor of war. Right? Units of troops wearing the same livery, fighting under the same banner, whatever. Livery is the best part of SCA warfare. It's the most spectacular. Tournaments are all very well, people wear the personal colours and blah blah blah, it looks wonderful. But big units of men wearing livery of the units, that's the best part of the war, is the colour and flash of SCA wars, which is exactly what medieval wars would look like. You've got livery troops, that's what livery was for. So that's probably the single most important part of crafting a good SCA war is the look of it. The look of it is. Any problem with that? Right, so therefore it's got, again, if you're crafting a war, you've got to write a war with a scenario that everybody can enjoy. Okay, a stand-up fight can be more fun than a very complex scenario that involves all sorts of things that nobody understands and takes 4 hours to explain the rules for. Right? So okay. So that's another part of building a war is wall. Walls. Sorry. Is making your scenarios playable and a decent game for everyone to have. I had another point.
Do you have nice last week?
No. Well, yes, if you count people as dice.
Oh,
right. What? point two, and that's the whole point I was attempting to get around to before. Individuals don't win wars and they don't fight. Units win wars. Right? That's the whole point I was making about building units and literally and alright, so we see that you can afford in the SCA because you're not dying and nobody's trying to kill each other. But you can afford to craft a war. It can be made good. You can make everything look good. You can make everything feel good for the people involved. In fact, you should feel a responsibility. If you're ever hosting a war or writing a war scenario, you should actually have a responsibility to provide the best possible war for the people taking part. Right? And again, that's what you can. That's the beauty of SCA warfare. You can do that. You can set that up. Any questions so far? Strategy and tactics. That's all there is. Well, okay. Two things, strategy and tactics. Alright, two completely different subjects. Alright. Strategy is building your unit, putting them in livery colours, and deciding what weapons combinations they're going to use in a war. Alright, that's strategy. You're taking a 5-man unit, all wearing pink and grey tabards, and all using crossbows. Right, that's your overall strategy, and they're going to go and shoot you while looking good.
Right. One good example of that is Lochac.
Of what?
What you said, strategy, building up a unit. That sort of thing. Damn straight.
Exactly.
Damn straight. The strategy behind that is exactly as I've explained. It's a recruiting device for the local SCA. Right? The most spectacular part of SCA is combat. It's easier to train people to fight in wars, therefore if we get new people coming along to fight, we put them into a unit for the war. Right? We preset the equipment they're going to fight with. We give them colours to wear. Right? Therefore they have something to do. Right? They know their place when they come along, which is a real problem for a lot of SCA fighters. They still wander in and someone goes, here kid, wear this, and they go, what do I do now? And they go off and they do stuff and never really learn. Right? You put them in a unit, any sporting group will do that. You know? So that's the Mordenbauer strategy, really, is to build that unit as a recruiting device. Right? It's not even a strategy on the battlefield. The strategy on the battlefield is to take these people and show them a really good time so that they stick around. Right? So, yeah, it's not even a battlefield strategy though. Right? If we consider Mordenbauer still, the tactics, again, have to be simple because they're all newcomers. Well, they're not now, but the idea is to get newcomers. The original idea is for newcomers. So you don't give them anything too complex, Anderson. That's, if we're going to discuss tactics now, that's the first thing you need to do. You've got to know what you have and what you can do with it. Right? If you've got a bunch of newcomers, don't expect them to
Grab the banner.
Don't expect them to be able to all take two-handed swords and go out there and carve up an experienced unit on the battlefield. Right? You've got to know what you've got and what they can do. Right? So a nice, heavy, solid shield wall is a perfect place for beginners to stand. Right? They stand there, they're all with all their friends, and they don't actually have to think much.
That's turned out alright. The grog concept?
Well, actually, the grog concept wasn't mine, but grogs per se. But they're new troopers. Armies have done it through the ages. You take your new guys and you put them in large units so that they sit there and they don't have to do much. The Roman army, the Roman legionary had to do this. You know, that was his job, and that's all he did when he wasn't building roads and bridges and stuff. Right? You give them a simple, if you've got newcomers, you give them a simple task to do in a war, and that's the tactic there.
In the SCA context, then war is the next step. Once the unit's been
fray with crossbows, you shoot crossbows with like that again, right? The first thing they've learned to do is load and fire their weapon in a war. Right? The next thing they need to do is load and fire their weapon faster. Right? And the next thing after that they've got to do is load, fire, and fire faster and hit what they're shooting at. Right? So everything can be a progression from that, from your original concept. You take the basic job you want them to do and get them better at it. SCA wise, you can get, because they've got so many options, and they're going to be around forever, they're not like front troopers and middle ages, where their first battle was probably going to be their last. The reason you put them in big units was because they were safe and they had a better chance of achieving what you wanted. SCA fighters hang around for a long time. You can afford to train them to do something else. And that really should be largely up to the individual. If you've got a working system of a unit, the next step really is to create a unit within that unit of your more experienced fighters. So they then need to, your more experienced fighters can do the same job you've done to get more troop credits or recruiting points. Right? So you improve them that way. And you get units within units with units with units, whatever. You just get them better at what they're doing. And if they're going to do something different, that's something that attaches itself to the parent. Maybe? Well, it's not really a